Hi, this is Christy Whitman with the Quantum Success Show, where you can get your information and inspiration to create your desires. And today I have a friend. Say hello, Michele.
Hey, Christy. Hey, everyone. So glad to be with you today. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you. You're just amazing light in this world, and I'm just really happy to connect with you and then introduce you to what I call my community, which is what I call them my family. So, these Magnetic Mondays, what we call them, are really important because I bring really people that are experts in doing what they're doing and people that have moved me or that, I really appreciate what you're teaching people, based on what I teach. And that's, helping people apply the 7 essential laws and move from a space of lack to abundance. And in doing that, we have to know what our emotions are really teaching us. So I just want to introduce you real quick before we get into all that, because I know we have some juicy discussion that's going to happen on emotions and the feminine approach to emotions. And even if you're a guy, guys, this still applies to you. So this is Michele, everyone. Michele Bersell. She is known as a visionary leader in emotional consciousness who challenges common thought and understanding regarding emotional well-being, Combining her training as a psychotherapist along with her spiritual insight, Michele continues to lead thousands to a new level of accessing and celebrating their potential through her seminars, retreats, speaking engagements, products, and individual programs. Besides media attention in Women's World Magazine, Parents Magazine, and Fox Television, Michele is featured in the upcoming Phil documentary, Good Luck. And Michelle's latest, Feel, Turn On Your Negative Feelings into Your Greatest Allies, immediately became a #1 best-selling book. 2 weeks later, Feel was featured at Gift at the 2012 Emmy Awards. We have that in common too. Michele also received a national recognition as one of the 50 great authors you should be reading for her first book, Emotional Abundance, Become Empowered. Her unique approach to emotional well-being has led Michele to be featured alongside best-selling authors like Iyanla Van Zandt, Neil Donald Walsh, Janet Atwood, Marcy Shimoff, one of my dear friends, and Rhonda Britton, and many others. Michele currently lives in Milwaukee, Wisconsin with her loving husband, daughter, and 2 twin sons. I don't know how she does it, but you can find Michele at michellebersell.com. So happy you're here.
Oh, thank you for that, Christy. I'm so glad to be here.
So great. So why I was attracted to you, I wanted you to come and really enlighten the family and introduce them to you and the work that you do is because you talk about a feminine approach to emotions. And I know emotions are so important, and so many of us were really raised with don't process our emotions. We're not supposed to cry. We're not supposed to show our anger, right? Especially if we're girls, and even young boys are told that. Don't be so angry. Don't be this. You should be that. So I wanted to just touch on, and I know I did a whole show on the importance of emotions, but I would love to hear from your perspective, why are emotions important?
Yes, well, thank you. And that is why I honor you and the work that you do. I think you really have shared and taught the importance of emotion, which is huge. Like for our generation and for so many people to start to be getting this, like repressing our emotions, denying our emotions is not going to serve us. That in and of itself is huge. What I've seen with a lot of people is that we want to receive our emotions, but there's still kind of this kink that's happening in our thoughts because, well, I'll just speak for myself. When I got to the point of like, okay, I get it, like repressing, denying isn't good, but it was almost like I had to brace myself when
like what's going to happen?
myself to receive my feelings because it was like, whoa, what is my ego or what I call my small self going to say about this? And then it almost felt like I was going to be entering some sort of like torture chamber or something because, that fear could come on so strong and all those negative messages along with it. So it was kind of like, whoa. And I had a breakdown moment is, really what happened to me to discover this. In that here I was a psychotherapist and I was coaching people with their emotional well-being, but I didn't get the purpose to our feelings. It's like, okay, I get it. We've got emotions, but what's the point? And I really couldn't get why I was still having moments where out of the blue, these emotions would come. And I decided, I freaked out actually, and I just said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm quitting this. I don't get it. There needs to be a purpose to these. Otherwise, I'm just feeling like I'm putting myself through continuous torture trying to receive these feelings and then move on.
Right.
And there didn't seem to be a big point. And that's when I started getting woken up at 4:30 in the morning. And that happened to me for 9 months straight. It was one of those, my daughter was, she was about to be 2. The boys, my twin boys, weren't even 1. And I literally just got them sleeping through the night.
Wow.
And so all I wanted to do is sleep.
Yeah.
And here's this breakdown, and then this voice that I'm getting at 4:30 in the morning saying, go to my computer and write. And I fought this voice because I wanted to sleep. And what came through was that the way we understand, especially our negative feelings, is actually fear-based. And that once we learn that there's another empowered message coming through that same negative feeling, we actually have a choice as to how we're going to allow that feeling to move us. And that's the great thing because, and I know you know this, but just as a reminder to the audience, emotions are the fuel to our intentions. Emotions have so much energy and so much vibration. And it's wonderful when we have that positive emotion motivating us, stirring us, guiding us.
Yeah.
But what about this other half? And when we can start to understand the empowered message coming through each of our negative feelings, it's like rocket fuel that really lights us up and keeps us on our path so that we're doing more and more of what we want to be doing while these negative emotions are actually guiding us to move past our comfort zone.
So how do you,
yeah.
I was going to ask you, how do you do that? So, okay, I'm experiencing fear. I'm afraid of like my future, that will I continue to have the success that I have? Or, will I ever have the success that I've intended for? Or I'm afraid I'm going to, lose my family, or whatever someone's fears or resentments or frustrations or whatever that, what we call negative emotions, lower level emotions. How can we then, turn the perspective when we're feeling it and then really get the juice out of what it's communicating to us?
Yes, beautiful question. So so what I do with my book and what I do with my teachings is try to help people define their emotions a little bit more. So just based on what you shared with me with that example, that fear, I would say that's anxiety. And anxiety is that the fear voice or the small self voice is about self-doubt. Now, anxiety only hits us to signal to us when we're not trusting ourselves. And so when we understand, first of all, the signal of what it means, then we can choose. It's like we're bringing our awareness and consciousness in to choose. Like, here's this small self version, and here's the empowered choice version or empowered self version. Now with my work, I break this down where I've got a list of over 65 emotions, and I'm saying, hey, here's what your small self is going to say when you get this feeling, and here's the empowered self version.
Awesome.
But I do have a process just to teach people so that they can get there on their own. What my book is kind of a cheat sheet for this.
Yeah.
But what you can do is, first of all, what I have people do is actually write down the fear version. Write down your small self version.
Okay.
It's the one that's coming out the loudest, and it does no good to keep it inside. So we allow that small self version to come out. Then all we do is it's like a beautiful space happens when we allow that to come through, where you're going to hear, and you can just ask your empowered self, is there any empowered message that you are trying to signal to me or guide to me in this moment? So step 2 is basically just creating the space for the empowered message to come through. Some people may be really good at this. You might get words about exactly what you're going to do. Others of you might just get like a flicker of something. It may say, you might get like a stop sign image. You might just get something. And then the step number 3 is, whatever that is that you're taking that information and you're committing to whatever the empowered self version is saying. So if it says stop, it's like, okay. And if I'm worried about my future, if I'm in self-doubt, I've got the stop sign that came up when I asked my empowered self what this is. I'm going to stop and go for a walk, and that's my action that I'm going to take. And so it gets you to, first of all, receive the negative feeling, and then really open up a space so that another version, another side to this feeling that's actually here to serve and support you can come through. And awesome. With my teachings, I really narrow it down to like 5 core emotions. And when you understand these 5 core emotions, it really impacts every feeling. You can narrow every feeling pretty much down to these 5 core. You get that, and you're going to be doing this in the moment so that whenever that negative feeling hits, you are able to use it to serve you in a way. And I love the example that you use with anxiety, because if you're just to tell people, like, just allow yourself to feel anxious, people who really suffer with anxiety, that does not feel good.
No.
You have to,
Yeah.
And so you have to know what is underneath that. And what's underneath that is, for anxiety in particular, is the signal to trust yourself more. And people with anxiety issues they want to have control. They want things to be perfect. They want things to be right. And it's really about trusting in yourself to allow more of your authenticity and more of your true self to come forward. So all these little signals, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but it's like a plane is on autopilot, is always correcting us. And that's all our feelings are doing. They're trying to get us back on course. And when we get these negative feelings and we understand their unique signals, it's guiding us to just move that much more smoothly or powerfully on our path.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you. That is like a step-by-step, like what we can do, when we're experiencing lower level emotions. So I absolutely love it. Thank you. And
yes.
let's take even a step further. And I want to say this. I just want to throw this out because I know I have a lot of wonderful family members that are males, and then there's also a lot of wonderful family members that are females. So when Michele and I are going to talk, we're going to talk about really the feminine approach to, your emotions. And this does not mean that that's just for the ladies. It's also for the men as well. So Michele, I would love for you to explain, like, what is that feminine approach to our emotions?
Yes, well, it really is, and thank you for clarifying that. This has been tremendous for the men that I've worked with, because a lot of men have been taught that they're allowed basically 2 emotions. You can be angry and you can be frustrated, and maybe you can get a little sad, but not too much.
Ooh, yeah.
And so it's really, this feminine approach is really for all of us, in understanding that our emotions are here to be received, and rather than looking at them as how I used to look at my negative feelings, were that they were these stumbling blocks on my path, and every once in a while I would trip over them. And what the feminine approach is about is, like, these are still maybe stones on your path. But instead of you just tripping on them and swearing like I used to, you're seeing them and you're understanding the signal that's there for you.
Awesome.
And for men, I think the most beautiful thing is helping them understand that when they were feeling anger, when all of us feel anger, it's our small self or fear is telling us that in that moment, you are powerless. And of course, we're never powerless. But that's what we are buying into in that moment, so we need to be signaled that we're buying into being powerless. When we understand that our anger is there to as a signal to say you are being called to step into your power in a way that makes you completely uncomfortable, people get this. Men get this. And oftentimes for men tend to have a little bit of protection around their heart chakra, their heart energy. And this has been for a good reason. It actually, what a lot of times their anger is calling them to do is to open up, to be vulnerable, and allow some of this to come through and to know that it feels safe. But for each of us, and for women, it may be to speak our truth, even though somebody might not like it. It just depends. but it's all about us stepping into some more of who we are, more of our authentic power. And as we do, that anger, see, there's nothing left to do then with the negative feeling. The anger naturally dissipates because you received the signal of what it's meant to be, how it's supposed to course correct you. You take that course correction and it's gone.
Yeah. Thank you. That's great. I've always considered anger as like a signal that you're not getting what you want. And in that moment, it's like you're feeling like you're powerless. That's why you're angry, because it's like, I'm not getting what I want. I'm powerless to change it. You know, it's like I'm so angry, frustrated. I see my little Alex, he's 4, you know, and his little scrunchy face. And it's like I see how just even as a small child, he's not getting what he wants in that moment and feels he doesn't realize that there's other options and that he can still feel good even though he's not getting what he wants. And us as adults who do have that power to make all of our decisions and, you know, to know that there's at least 9 options to any given situation, when we find something that we don't want, we can then ask ourselves, what do we want? And then how do we want to feel, you know? And I love what you're saying. It's like, you said it's a gift, you know, and we have to receive it. And it's like, we have to receive it, you know, and it's all about us and spending that time to get to know ourselves. That is so important, you know, because we're energy generators, you know, so if we're trying to manifest our lives and we don't know about, and we're not connected enough to ourselves and spend the time to even slow down to check in with our emotions, you know, it's like, that's why people get frustrated. So.
Exactly. That's exactly it. I love what you're saying. It is about knowing ourselves more. And why I call the process feel every emotion as love is because it really is about loving ourselves more. It's about knowing ourselves more, liking ourselves more, and trusting ourselves more so that when we can actually manifest the way that we want to. We get all these parts of us aligned to work with us. And, you know, I think it's just our natural being then that allows us to attract and manifest.
Yeah, and I want to say something. You know, I know a lot of times people have heard these concepts like self-love, right? Oh yeah, okay, I know what that is. But in this moment, like I'm just talking to each one of you watching, in this moment, even if you've heard the concept of self-love and you kind of do it here and dabble in it there, or, you know, maybe you've taken a program about it before, or, you know, whatever it is, really allow yourself to feel the field, like feel the energy from the tip of your fingers to the tip of your toes. Like, what would self-love feel like? Like, get into a vibrational feeling place of what self-love is, and go beyond what your mind understands self-love to be. Drop into your heart, feel, you know, go into your belly. I mean, really feel the emotions, the vibration of this thing called self-love. And I invite you this week to really practice with that. And as you're feeling that love for yourself, you know, that feeling where you may have been madly in love with someone, you know, I think of when I first met Frederick, and that feeling of just like, oh my God, you know, it's like if you turn that into yourself, that feeling of I'm so madly in love, you know, not from an ego place, but just a feeling, energy place. What would that feel like? What would you look like? Would you exercise? Would you eat differently? Would you take care of yourself? Would you spend your time differently? So I really invite you to soak in that beyond the concept, but the energy of self-love. So Michele, I know that you have an amazing gift to give everybody besides what you've already given today in the interview. Do you mind telling everybody what that is and how they can find it?
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to share that. And I just want to say I love this, what you were sharing about self-love. And that's what's available to you. When you love yourself and your negative feelings, you're just like raising that self-love vibration within you. So thank you for sharing that beautiful example.
Thank you.
Yes, what I would love to share with your community is what I call my Feel Toolkit. And this is me really giving you some more in-depth guidance about how to actually love ourselves when we're experiencing negative feelings, how we can begin to really receive and understand the signals that's coming through, and how we can course correct. Awesome. And it comes to you with a series of 3 video trainings, a couple of meditations in there. And one of the favorite exercises that people just go crazy about is the Clear Your Fear exercise.
Ooh.
Where I'm really showing people, like, in the moment, how you can get out of that fear state and be tapping into that natural energy that's trying to propel you forward.
Awesome. Michele, I love you. I love your work. It's amazing. So if you want to go get her free gift, which I want to go get it right now, it's below the video. So go there. We have a link all set up. And, just really enjoy all the gifts that Michele is giving us today. So, Michele, thank you so much. Any final last words that you want to share with the family?
There's a quote by Rumi that says, God's, here, let me just quote it really quick if we have a moment. It's in my books, and I love it. Sorry, I should have had this pulled out.
That's okay. It's edited. Okay, editable.
Edit, sorry. Okay, here it is. God turns you from one feeling to another and teaches by means of opposites, so that you will have two wings to fly with, not one.
I love that. That's something great to leave with, though. Wow. Thank you, Michele. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you. It's been my honor, and thank you for sharing me with your family. I appreciate that.
You're so welcome. My honor. So everybody download Michele's free gift and leave us your comments. Let me know how this information has impacted you. How are you going to implement some self-love and really explore your emotions this week? So let us know, and thanks as always for watching.